Hey guys, cobradvs here, and hey, I don't know if you can tell, but I've changed my room around a little bit. I don't know if you saw the room tour that I did not too long ago, actually, less than a week, about a week, something like that. Well, I've obtained another shelf over here. So what I've done is I've put mostly Nintendo here and mostly Sega and the other stuff here. But this is mostly Genesis and Sega CD, Saturn, stuff like that. So that's why it looks different. I've changed a little things. I'll do a room tour at some point later in the year, but I don't want to do two so close to each other. So anyway, down to business. This is a video that I saw. I've only seen one reply to it, but I've seen the original video too. The original is by GamezofWar, and the tag that I saw was by Ball and Nick 1992. Excuse me, I saw Pete Doors also done a tag reply. And it's the rarest games that you own in your collection. It's sort of a little video where you get to showcase some of the more prized possessions that you have. And I think it's important to note, and they've all mentioned this in their video, that it's not a bragging video. You know, you're not sitting here saying, you know, haha, I have this and you don't. It's just, you know, you're showing the things that you have that are rare and uncommon, because that's why you collect, usually, to collect the, get the more hard-to-find stuff. That's why I do it, I know, that's what drives me. So, so I've picked a few games for most of the systems that I play. Nothing before the NES. I don't have anything rare before that. I don't collect for anything pre-NES much anymore. So this is all NES onward. Let's see. The systems I've got out are NES, Super NES, Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, and so on. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll get started with the earlier stuff. Sorry about my chair, it's pretty creaky. But we'll start with the earlier stuff. The NES. Some loose game cartridges here. And I'll try and note a price that I think these are worth. It's not a guarantee, but it's just what I think or what I've observed. The first one is rare in the United States. It's not so much a rare game overseas in the UK or Europe, because it was a PAL-only release. But when I heard about this game, I thought I might want to track down a copy. And it usually sells for, I think I saw one sell for $80. I don't know if that was here or in the UK, I forget which. But it's a pretty hard game to find here. It's Ghostbusters 2, new Ghostbusters 2. This is actually quite a bit different, well, I'm not going to get it down, from the Ghostbusters 2 that we most notably know, the one from the AVGN video. That's a different game. This game is actually made by HAL Laboratories. They made the Lolo games, the Kirby games, Super Smash Brothers. They're involved with that. So a great company, and this is a very fun game. Very fun game. If you have the chance to get that, go for it. Okay, next are these ones are actually pretty hard to find. A lot more than that one, I would say. They're NTSC releases, but you know, they're still hard to get, and they're pretty expensive. The first one here is a late release. These are all late releases. Mighty Final Fight. This game jumped up in price recently. I know I got mine for $10. I saw another one for $25 at a gaming store. Recently, one sold on eBay for $86, I want to say, and it was bids. It wasn't a buy it now. That was bidding. So, you know, that's a lot for this game. So I'm happy to have gotten mine for $10. No complaints there. Let's see. Next are a couple of Konami releases. The first one is a game that was also on the Genesis and the Super NES, which is probably attributes to why this one is so rare or hard to find. It's Tournament Fighters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. A lot of people don't know about this game. Unless you're a collector, you probably don't. Yeah, it's the third wheel on the Tournament Fighters, you know, whatever. It's definitely the weakest of the three, because it's, you know, the NES version. And it goes for a decent amount. I think it's over 50, around 60, somewhere around there for a cartridge. And this last one is a personal favorite. Well, not the game itself, but to have it in my collection is one of my favorite things in my collection, and it's Contra Force. This completes my Contra collection on the NES. Actually, no, it doesn't. I got rid of Super C. I'm looking for a complete in box copy of Super C. I have the first one complete in box. I'll probably never get this one complete because that's like $150. So I'll just have to do with the cart for now. Alright, only one boxed NES game that I consider rare valuable. I mean, if you look behind me, you know, there's games back here that are worth a decent amount. Like, I know the Castlevania trilogy, you know, 1, 2, and 3, complete in box, they go for a little bit. I know Miss Pac-Man, the Namco version, that's kind of pricey. But there's really only one in there that stands out, and I think it's worth around 150. That's just a rough guess, but I think that's what it's worth complete in box, and it's the original Mega Man. In very nice shape. It's in a nice protector. I got this from Kefka 14. We did a little deal for it. So this is probably my most expensive NES game. You know, loose it goes for about 25 to 30. Complete in box, it's a lot harder to find. It's around I think 150. The last I checked, it's been a while. Okay, moving on. We'll start with the. I only have one Genesis game, so we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. This game, when I first started looking at it, it was around the $50 to $60 range, I want to say. Now, I've seen complete copies sell for close to $100. I paid $30 for it. Was really happy with that deal. And it's the Punisher on the Genesis, complete in box. There's no tattoo, actually. It comes with a free skull tattoo. I don't have that, but actually those are not as hard to find as you would think. So hopefully at one point I'll get it. But yeah, this game's jumped up in price tremendously since I paid $30 for it. It's usually around $100 now, a little less, I think. So I'm happy to have that for the price I paid. Alright, now we'll move on to the Super NES. Now, the Super NES is interesting because it's certainly the console I have the most expensive games on. I mean, I got them all at once, most of them. And, you know, I've got, like, the Final Fantasies, your Zelda, Breath of Fire 2, and those are all, like, $50 games. Some of them are, anyway. Complete in box. Some even more. But they're not rare, really. Breath of Fire 2 is kind of rare. But, like, Final Fantasy 3, that's certainly not a rare game, so I don't feel like it's fair to show that. But the ones I will show here, they are pretty rare. We'll start with the non-RPGs, and then we'll go into the RPGs. The first one is actually one of my more expensive games, period. It's a complete in-box copy of Wild Guns on the Super NES. The box is in okay shape. It's a little faded, but it's the card is very nice. The manual is pretty decent. Oh, almost got worse. No, but yeah, I'm really happy to have this. I think in this condition, I'd probably say it's worth. Oh geez, put me on the spot. 150 plus would be just a guess. So that's a pretty hard game to find. That one is, especially at a good price. Next, I'm pretty sure this is not an RPG. I'm thinking it's a side-scroller. I've never played it, but I've heard it's a very good game. It's a Demon's Crest, complete in box. I'm not too certain on this one. I think this one goes for around 100 now. It's related to the Ghouls and Ghosts series, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, I think it's getting harder to find for sure. The people seem to want to play it, so it's probably pretty good. Worth around 100 as far as I know. Okay, basically the rest of them, except for one, are RPGs, but I'll save that for the last. Now, this next game, well actually it's both of them, the first one and the second one, are both pretty hard to find. The second one is significantly, well, not significantly, it's quite a bit more uncommon, expensive, but the first one's no slacker itself. It's Lufia, the Fortress of Doom. I'm trying to think what a complete copy, and this is in pretty decent shape, a little crushing to the box, but I'm thinking it probably would go for 60 plus, 70 maybe, complete in box. I believe this has the map too, or whatever it came with originally. Yeah, it's got like the attack map, or the attack, all the stats and everything. So yeah, I'd say 60 plus on the original Lufia. And then its sequel, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. This is actually one that I've really wanted to play. It's actually a prequel to the first one. So I really want to give this one a try. So I guess if I were to play them, I'd play this one and then that one, because this is actually a prequel. But I might be better off playing that one anyway. But yeah, this one is complete as well. This one's in a box protector. I don't want to get it out. This one's complete. I think this one goes for around 90 complete in box. This box is a little worn, but I think about 90 is a fair guess on that one. Okay, next are a couple more RPGs. The first one is part of a trilogy, unconfirmed trilogy, if you will. It's Soul Blazer. It's part of the Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma, I believe. It's part of that trilogy. I'm not 100% certain on the price of this one. I think it's close to 100 now for a complete in box copy with the map and manual, which this one has. So I'm really happy to have this one. I haven't played this. I don't play a lot of RPGs. I have a lot of them. I just don't play a lot of them. But this is one I'd like to give a shot. Illusion of Gaia is another one I have that I'd really like to play. All right, next is a classic that most people consider one of the best RPGs of all time. I don't know if I can say that because I haven't really played it enough, but I can tell you it's an excellent game, and it's Chrono Trigger, complete in box. This one has both maps, or posters, the instruction manual, the cartridge, of course. The box is in fair shape. It's obviously been played, but overall I'd say it's decent. This game is interesting. If it the big determinant on this one is like the manual and the maps. I remember one time on eBay I was watching I'm gonna set this down. I was watching a box only, but it came with the manual. It was everything but the game, the manual, the map, and everything. And I'm not certain on what it sold for, but I know it was over $100, which seemed ludicrous to me because I was just looking to replace my box because it's a little rough, but so I'd like to get a new one. But so they pay. I think it was I want to say it was like $120 for everything but the game. So that's what leads me to believe that the maps and the posters and all that are a huge determining factor in what the game sells for. Okay, so next are a couple loose games. These are pretty expensive. The first one is I have a custom case for it. It's a Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. This one sells for I think around 80 for just the cartridge. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's around 80. Complete, I'm not entirely sure. I got this one at a garage sale. Cost next to nothing. It was like $1, I think. So this was very, very, very good to have for that price. And these games are. The thing about this is that the games are just getting more rare. As people buy them up, less are out there. So they're getting more rare and they're getting more expensive. And speaking of games that are getting more expensive, this game is astounding as far as its price. Everybody knows about this game, and I think most people will tell you the same thing. It's not rare. It's really not that rare of a game. There are usually 25 or so of them on eBay at a time. It's just in such demand that it is uncommon. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy to find, but it's not super rare, and that's Earthbound. The thing is just everybody wants to play it. Everybody wants to play Earthbound. I've not played this one yet. This is one that I'm going to play at some point. I've heard a lot of people say this is one of the best RPGs ever made, and I've also heard a lot of people say it's way overrated. I guess I'll be the judge of that. I'm not much of an RPG player, so I'm kind of going into it with an open mind, which I think will help determine what I think of it without any bias. But this game, excuse me, when I first got it, it was around, I think, 100, maybe 115, maybe 90. You could probably get it within that range. Now, it's not uncommon for this game to go for about 180, sometimes $200. And if you have a complete in box copy, you're looking at over 500 easy. I don't have a complete in box copy. I'd love to get one at some point, and I'm sure it'll happen hopefully at one point. But as of now, I'm happy with just this. And this game is going up in price in a hurry. Okay, so that's it for the Super NES. That's just some of the best stuff I have. I have more uncommon, pricey games, but those are the highlights, I think. So next we'll move on to one Sega CD game, and the Sega CD has kind of like a lot of rare games. You've got Snatcher, you've got Kyo Flying Squadron, Lunar 1 and 2, Popful Mail. I don't have anything to that caliber. Those games are pretty expensive and hard to find. But this game it's around $40, and and you don't see it very often. So I'm happy to have it. And it's Heart of the Alien, and this is a sequel to Out of This World. So I'm happy to have it. I paid $1 for it, no joke. It was $1. So it's not super rare, just more uncommon. Which Sega CD games, like period, are uncommon to find in the wild. They're common online. You can find them anywhere. But in the wild, Sega CD games are hard to find. Now I tried to pick a game for my 32X, so you can see my 32X games here. But I really couldn't do it. I guess the most expensive one I have is probably Knuckles Chaotix. It's not so much rare, but it does go for a little bit. I didn't pull it out and put it out here because it's not super rare. But I'm really happy to have it. It's probably my favorite 32X game. And so we've covered the Sega attachments. Now let's go ahead and move on to the Saturn. Now I've got 3 games here. Pretty heavy hitters, I guess, in the Saturn library. The first one is, I think, an underrated game, to be honest with you. I think this game gets a little too much hate that it doesn't deserve, and it's Mega Man 8 on the Saturn. This is the Anniversary Collector's Edition, which includes exclusive Mega Man 8 art. So, I guess that would make this one a little bit better than the PS1 version. I guess I can't really say for sure. But the PS1 version is very common. It's like a $10 game. This one is more around 80 plus, 80, 90, somewhere in there, for a complete and box copy in very good condition, which this one is, thankfully, in excellent shape. Next is one of the best games on the Sega Saturn, and it's an exclusive. And it's one of the few games that you can play online, or you used to be able to. Actually, I think you still can, but you have to do a lot of like setting up and stuff for it. It's like really complicated, and I don't know how to do it. So it's Saturn Bomberman. Now this game is actually pretty hard to find, complete in box. I got a pretty good deal on mine. I paid under retail, no doubt about it. I think it's probably worth around 80 or 90. I guess depending on condition, it could go upwards of 100. I paid, I think I paid $69 for mine, so about $70, which I thought was a fair deal at the time. Alright, so I'm going to skip over one game, and I'm going to just jump ahead. I have one sort of current game that's pretty rare, and it's for the original Xbox, and it's Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. And when you think of rare games, you really don't think of games that are, on the Xbox. But there do exist rare games for current gen, last gen systems. So this is cool. This game goes for around, I think, $80, around 80. Maybe a little less or a little more, I guess, depending on condition. And mine's in good shape. Everything's in there. So I got mine for $25. A while ago, so I'm happy to have it, and it's actually a pretty cool game too. It's like imagine Roller Coaster Tycoon with dinosaurs. Alright, so now the last game that I'm going to show is without a doubt probably, as of right now, the most expensive game in my collection. I picked it up earlier this year in an excellent pickups video that I had. I think I got a fair price on it. It was a lot of money, but I think it was fair for this condition. Yeah, as of right now, it is the rarest game I own, and it's on the Saturn, and it's Panzer Dragoon Saga. This game's pretty infamous among collectors. It's around Earthbound. It's kind of like that, except it's a lot more rare than Earthbound. I'm trying to think. I know this was a very late release Saturn game. I don't think it was the last. In fact, I'm pretty certain it wasn't the last. But I think I heard a number online once that the reason this game is so rare is I think only 50,000 were made. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that in an article. 50,000, which would make this very rare. That's, 50,000 in the United States. We got 50 country or states, so 50,000. That's 1,000 per state, which is very few, to be honest. But yeah, Panzer Dragoon Saga, that's my rarest game, most expensive. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. That's what I have. Hopefully I get more soon, because that's what I like. So yeah, check out Nick's video, Pete Doerr's video, and of course the original video by GamezofWar. And until then, guys, take care.